Elden Ring is ready to face its toughest boss yet, the box office. We'll fill you in on all the details and why this might just be one of the good video game movies.
And it was a big week for fans of the Warhammer video game series. We've got a ton of new trailers, new game announcements. We're going to talk about all this stuff and tons more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single week, we're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. You can find us on YouTube and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red. As always, I'm joined by this gentleman right here, Mr. Full Clip. What's up, dude? How are you?
Doing pretty good, you?
I'm great. It is a holiday weekend here in the United States, Memorial Day. So I'm drinking beers, long weekend. I'm going to do some cooking out. It's a good time.
Of course.
It's a good time.
You know, everybody's off work. Well, not everybody, but, a lot of people are off work today because it is Memorial Day. So we very purposely, very strategically decided to push the show off one day, right?
Sure. Exactly. That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, well, it's a holiday, banks aren't open. Why do we need to put something out on time?
And
so,
bankers,
this episode.
Yeah, bankers
exactly.
are 90% of our audience. We'll get them on the Tuesday commute.
Yeah. So as you've noticed probably by now, this episode has been put out a day late, but we're bringing it to you. We got a lot to talk about. First thing I want to know, I know you've been working a lot. You've been working a real lot. Have you found any time for any gaming in there?
I have, and we'll get into that when we talk about some of our new releases.
Oh, shit. I'm excited. Yeah, dude, I've been doing a lot of gaming myself. Still playing Clair Obscur. I did get a new release game that we're not going to talk about, Monster Train 2, which is one of Monster Train, the OG, one of my favorite deck builders. Very excited when that came out. Snatched it up day one, and it is just more Monster Train, but now they've added a ton of stuff, dude. It's crazy how much stuff they've added, and it doesn't feel like too much. It doesn't feel overwhelming. This may be now better than Slay the Spire, which I've always thought were my top two. Slay the Spire and Monster Train. But the amount of stuff they add in Monster Train 2, oh man, dude, it makes for some really fun. You try to put together a crazy deck, get some cool builds going. I'm having a blast with it. So,
nice. Any
Any fans of deck builders, check it out. There is a demo that you can play pretty much everywhere, and it's on Game Pass. So, if you do have Game Pass, no reason not to get in there and play a little Monster Train deck builder. So, it's a lot of fun. In addition to that, I've also been playing a game called Dice with Death, which is very similar, kind of like, ever since Balatro came out, we get all these different things, slot machine games, dice games, or whatever. Yeah. But this one, it's less of a deck builder and more of you're playing dice against death, and you got to get the highest score, and by putting together pairs and, three of a kind straights, and every round that you get through, death gives you another magical item to help get a higher score. So it has that kind of same feel as like a deck builder.
Yeah.
This game, man, it's in early access right now, and doesn't have a ton of content, but it is a very, very tight game. If you just want to play some dice, the way to get further in the game. It's a hard game too, but I'm having a blast with it. The writing, dice, the death is he's constantly telling these stories of people that he's seen before, and the writing is done really well. And it's a really old school SNES design. But yeah, that's it's $14 in early access right now. I don't know if the price is going to go up or whatever, but if you're a fan of just dice games or games of chance, Dice with Death is it's real nice. Real nice dice.
Yeah, it sounds therapeutic, for maybe
Mhm.
people with like gambling, whatever you want to call it. You do that,
Yeah.
and you don't like
Yeah.
lose your life savings.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't lose your
Scratching
life
itch,
savings, but you do. Death does actually kill you, though, in the
Oh,
game. It's like a
shit.
thing. So, yeah, you die. He reaches through the screen and you die. But yeah, man, my Steam Deck has been getting worked this week because of these games. Like, they're the perfect games to have, like, on the Steam Deck. Man.
Yeah.
It's been, and I got Coin Pusher RPG, which we talked about a few months ago. Haven't even broke into that yet, dude. Talk about another dumb idea for a
Yeah.
game, but this one's based on the Coin Pusher mechanics. But I'm excited to play that as well. So it's been a good week for gaming. All right, but I need to hear what you've been playing. So let's get going. And I think I have an idea. So let's get going on our new releases from this past week. All right, first up, Roadcraft came out May 20th on PC, PS5, Xbox X. Is this the one?
This is the one.
This is the one. So as I was looking at this game, I'm like, man, this is the perfect game for Full Clip. It's just like a disaster recovery simulator,
Right.
where you just drive like heavy machinery and you clean up after disasters. Basically,
Yeah,
am I getting the gist?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with like Mud Runner, Snow Runner, those spin tires games is what they call them by Saber Interactive. Yeah, it's that. Maybe a lesser extent of like winching yourself out of holes, but sometimes, there's a lot of those. I didn't play Mud Runner and Snow Runner, but there's a lot that carries over, and it's a lot of new stuff too. So in this one, it's all focused on infrastructure. So you're going out there in these pipelines, you're replacing the pipes, you're building roads so that you can send these like AI convoys from place to place to move supplies around the map so that you can start working on the next goal. It's like it's not one huge open world map. It's several different kind of scenarios. So the first two, you're in North Africa before the storm. You're trying to set things up so that this phosphate plant doesn't get just taken out by the hurricane or something. And then the very next stage is like, okay, the hurricane happened. Now here's how we clean up and get things back on. Then the third one, this is as far as I've made it. Now you're in like Eastern Europe, and the world looks very different. It's kind of like a really beautiful fall, autumn scene. But it's been a lot of fun. It scratches a certain itch.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it plays very much like a simulator game.
Yeah.
I think there's less focus on what you do with like your money, because there's all these machines.
Okay.
There's like 48 of them or something in the base game, and you can always just unlock like better versions of them and sort of fulfill these tasks the way that you want to.
So it's more of a sandbox in that world where you're not focused on. I did read like one of the negative reviews talking about how like you can't like repair, you don't have to worry about repairs, so kind of like takes you out of that or whatever. But that's like, I'm cool with that. I don't want to have to like repair this shit. What's the jank level on this particular simulator game? Has it got a lot of that or no?
I wouldn't say there's anything I've ran into that's like really game-breaking bad or anything. It is like you have terrain manipulation going on, sometimes unintentionally. So sometimes when you're using your crane truck and you're picking something really heavy up, maybe the truck starts to tip a little bit, and that starts to eat away at the terrain. Now, I would say that's a feature and not a bug. It just sometimes it leads to some really annoying situations where you've sort of like dug the ground out from under yourself.
And you can't get out. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man. It looks like a lot of fun. I like that you have to kind of recycle like resources to like, put that towards other things from what, like fallen trees and stuff like that. Yeah. You turn into resources. It's real cool. And then it's got a co-op mode. I think, so you can get out there and clean up debris with your friends. So,
I haven't played the co-op mode, but I mean that I could see it being really helpful, because sometimes your destination is sort of across the map and you're taking these cumbersome vehicles all the way over there. Later in the game, you'll unlock like cargo carriers that you can put these vehicles on and take them there a little bit easier. But if I were just playing with a buddy and I'm like, hey, go ahead and take the excavator over to the bridge where I'll meet you with the concrete pipes and whatever, then it'd be pretty fun.
Nice. Very, very cool. Yeah, that one looked like a lot of fun. I mean, there were a million, like, there were so many new releases. I had to, like, we're talking about more than we ever do, and I had to cut some out. So we'll just kind of, speed run through these. The next one, Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, came out May 21st. Now, as I was looking at, like, which ones of these we could cut, I was like, man, we could probably cut this one out of there. It looks stupid. And then, like, I'm seeing the following that this game has gotten since it has come out. So the premise of this is they're calling it a slow life RPG, kind of like a very cozy game, but it's also got RPG dynamics in there where, like, you can choose one of, like, 14 lives at the time, and that's what they call them. So either you're doing combat, or you're gathering or crafting, and those are they're called the lives that they have. But then it's full of, like, these, you could just do mini games if you want. If you want to just do mini games, you could just do that. But then there's dungeons where you could go through and actually fight things like an old school, like, RPG style game. And then on top of that, like, everything is customizable, all the terrain, and, like, you put together these, like, houses, and it's like this big open world game. And, like, as I was, like, looking it up, it's sold over 500,000 copies, and its peak player thing on Steam was 65,000. This game is $60. I could not believe how many units this $60 cozy game sold. That looks like so many other games, but this is the new hotness, dude. Have you got a chance to look at this?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought when I looked at it. I mean, it's sort of that genre that seems a little oversaturated right now with the Hello Kitty Island adventures, the Animal Crossings. There's a thousand of those cozy sort of Harvest Moon ripoffs, but yeah, this one takes it way further than that. And the thing that really stood out to me were the positive reviews that it was getting and all the hype around it. I saw that there's a mechanic where you go 1,000 years into the past. You can just kind of go back and forth, past and present, and what you do in the past affects your island in the future. I've loved that mechanic since Dark Cloud 2. So I'd really like to get into this one and see. I don't know about that $60 price tag. We'll see.
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, but yeah, it looks great, and everything I'm hearing about it looks like just that you can, whatever you feel like doing that day, you can do. It's not like if you want to go have an action game, it's there. It's all there for you. If you want to just go gather resources, you could do that. So I think that's pretty cool, and it's a multiplayer. You could have up to 4 people playing at the same time, each doing all those individual things. So very cool game that I was not familiar with at all. And then we got Deliver at All Costs. This came out on May 22nd on PC, PS5, Xbox S, and X. This, you play as a courier in the 1950s, basically just delivering things. That's the game. It's very much just a game-focused game. I played the demo, and I thought it was cool. The driving is cool. It's got like a, like a top-down view on the world. And everything's destructible, and it's all physics-based. So there's one mission I had to do where they put like 50 watermelons in the bed of your truck, and then you got to get them to your destination. But they're flying out everywhere. Like, you got to take it real slow so you don't lose all your watermelons. If you run over like just a citizen of this world, they get pissed at you, and they drag you out of your car and beat the shit out of you. It's like a whole thing. And to make things even better, it's free on Epic. So you could just go get it if you have access to the Epic Game Store and play it for free there. So yeah, it's good. The downside to the game, from what I'm hearing, the negative reviews, is that the story is just meh, and some of the missions, the driving missions, are the same. Like, you'll have the same mission, so it's a little repetitive. But it was fun. I enjoyed the demo, and it went on my wish list after I played it. So I would snatch it up from the Epic Game Store, but then I got to go through all these hoops to play it on my Steam Deck.
Yeah,
too lazy for that, dude.
Yeah, I just saw something though.
Too big.
Does this affect it that there's now like Steam OS that's come out?
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't looked into that much. How if it at all affects anything regarding that, but yeah, we'll see. Anything to say about Deliver at All Costs?
I grabbed it off Epic. You have until Thursday to do it. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it'll be free forever on there, but it was on there day one. Right. I'll play it down the line somewhere. There's a massive backlog on there.
Sure, absolutely. All right, next up, Blades of Fire also came out May 22nd on PC, PS5, Xbox S, and X. Now, speaking of Epic, this is an Epic exclusive for PC. This one, you play as like a blacksmith, and you have to forge these special weapons to play through the game. And then the game plays kind of Souls-ish, weird cast of enemy characters, and the fighting style is a little Dark Souls-ish. But what I'm hearing is that the actual crafting, the forging of the weapons is the best part. So there's all these different, there's 7 total different weapon types. There's all these different forge scrolls that you could get to change the weapon to kind of whatever style you want to get, or for whatever enemy you're facing, you can adjust the weapon to, to help, battle this particular enemy. It looks really cool. This one I had my eye on from when it came out. I'm hearing reviews all across the board. I read in a review from IGN, gave it a 5 out of 10. Some other reviewers gave it a 10 out of 10. Like, it's weird. The varying, it has it's a 75 right now on Metacritic, so it's landed somewhere in the middle. But yeah, man, I definitely want to check it out. I love the idea of crafting the weapons. Like, that sounds really cool to me. And they're saying that that's the best part of the game. I don't know. It seems interesting.
Looking into the trailer, I mean, the fights reminded me a lot of Elden Ring and the Souls games, and then I read in one of the comments that this is sort of the spiritual successor to some game from 2001, which is supposed to be like the grandfather of the Soulsborne games.
Really? No,
so kind of makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'll check that out at some point down the line. I always wanted to be in another life. I would have been a blacksmith, dude.
Yeah,
that could have. I got the beard for it. And then last up, Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny. This is a remaster from the 2002 game. It came out, I think it's on everything. Came out May 23rd. It's a samurai sword game where you kill stuff with a sword. This one is now updated with HD graphics and improved controls. I know you were a big Onimusha fan back in the day.
Yeah, so when I got my PlayStation 2 back then, this was one of like 3 games that I got with it, and I loved it. I remember looking at like the cutscenes in that game on the PlayStation 2 and thinking like, these graphics are amazing. How can we go better?
Yeah.
How can it ever be better than this? I'd like to see what they look like.
You got to get this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to see if it still holds up in your mind now that they have the new HD graphics. And then lastly, real quick, let's talk about the Splitgate 2 beta. So this came out this week. It is a ongoing beta. So it is open and ongoing until the actual full launch of the game. I haven't gotten to try it because there have been terrible server issues from when it first came out. Like, so much so where they shut it down. They shut the server down and try to figure it out. From what I'm hearing, they're back up and running. It might take a little longer to get into a game because they lessened the amount of people on each server. So, it's available. It's out there. Hopefully, by the time you're hearing this, it's a little bit easier to get into a game and stay in a game. But I'm excited to get back in there and check it out.
This one I did download once I got home from work and was ready to try it immediately. Like, the servers are offline. And it just kept saying that over and over. I came back a few hours later. They were finally ready to go. I played about 2 or 3 matches. And, since I went to PC and pretty much have exclusively played PC and all of my first-person shooters are keyboard and mouse, this is the first one. I downloaded it on the PS5. And I tried to do, like, controller for the FPS, and it was just not happening. So after 2 or 3 matches of just dog shit gameplay, and that's on me, not the game, I just deleted it.
Oh, smart. I remember when the closed beta happened, it was just a limited open beta. This was a couple months ago. I played it and consistently got stomped, dude. So I used to crush in Splitgate 1, dude.
Yeah.
I was always just smoking people, and this one came, and I was so bad. I was so angry. So I'm excited to try to get back in there and see if it's a me issue or what. But yeah, I absolutely had fun with the first one, so I'm hoping it continues. All right, well, that is it for our plethora of new releases from this past week. Let's get into our news of the week. All right, first up, let's talk about Game Pass real fast. We got the latest update to Game Pass, all the games coming, and they are available right now. Monster Train 2, talked about that earlier. Creatures of Ava, Stalker 2, Tales of Kenzera Zao. Excited to check that one out finally. I haven't played that yet. Tom Clancy's The Division 2 comes out May 27th. To a T, Day 1 on May 28th. Excited for that one. That's from the creator of Katamari Damacy, which I'm a big fan of. And I have no idea what this is. Someone stuck in a T-post. And then May 29th, Metaphor ReFantazio makes its debut over there on Game Pass. Also the same day, Day 1 game Spray Paint Simulator comes out, which is another one I'm very excited for, which I feel like is just Power Wash Simulator just in reverse. Right. I don't know. I don't know what we're spray painting. If we're painting houses like in this, the picture, it seems like a terrible way to paint your house just using cans of spray paint. I feel like you could, come up with a better idea.
Yeah.
And then June 3rd, Crypt Custodian and Symphonia are also added to the Game Pass lineup. And then leaving at the end of the month, Cassette Beasts, Firework, Humanity, Remnant 2, and Slayers X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer. It's another big lineup, dude. Every time we talk about Game Pass, I'm always so impressed with what they're doing with that. It has been probably the best 2 months of Game Pass ever these last 2 months, and it's just going to keep getting better. There's more and more games planned to come out on the subscription service. So if you don't have Game Pass, are you even gaming? They're not even giving me any money. Look at me though. I'm a shill. I'm a goddamn shill for the Xbox machine.
Oh yeah.
So
no, I feel it.
Crazy.
As long as I'm sure this justifies price increases somewhere down the line, and that's the bad side of it. But yeah, it's an incredible value for getting in there, trying out games that you otherwise just wouldn't be dumping $30 into to try all the time.
Right. And if that wasn't enough, we got to talk about the retro classics that they also just launched. So collaboration between Xbox and Antstream Arcade, which is available on Game Pass, this Antstream Arcade thing, and it has a collection of over 50 classic Activision games from the 80s and 90s. Now I'm talking like Atari games, like the shittiest like Atari games, up to some games from the 90s, like Commando, Grand Prix, Kaboom, MechWarrior 2, Pitfall. So there are a ton of games, and you can play them, pretty much on any device that you could have Game Pass on. There's, they're 2-bit games. So, yeah. Any of those retro games that you're like, dude, I gotta play this game.
The only one that I really recognize as having played before is just Pitfall. And I guess Pitfall, is it Pitfall 2? Yeah, otherwise there's just a lot of stuff on here you probably couldn't pay me to play. Just not my generation that I grew up with on gaming, and it's all unbearable for me the few times I have actually played like a legitimate Atari console with some of these.
Yeah. So for me, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm old as dirt, and I grew up with an Atari 2800, and we had, I'm talking I was little. But a lot of these games that are on this service are games that we had, dude. Boxing was 6 circles. It was a top down. There were 6 circles, 3 over here and 3 over here. And the middle circle was the head, and the other 2 circles were the fists. And you have to punch with them. It was the worst game ever. But like, I want to check it out. There's so many. Like Kaboom was a game you played with the paddle. I don't know if you remember the paddle where you like spin the wheel. And there's a guy dropping bombs, and you have to catch bombs in water buckets. That was the most fun I've ever had when I was a child. That is available on here. I don't have a cool paddle, but I don't know. So, yeah. I'm going to download the thing. We're going to see what the retro classics are all about. I'll probably delete it after 5 minutes. But if you're old like me, it's available for you. And that's what matters.
I'm wondering if any of these are the ones where you had to like put a transparency up against your screen and like use a marker or something on them.
Oh man, I surely hope not. But yeah, man, Game Pass, they're killing it. Go subscribe before they, get grandfathered in before they raise the prices. All right, moving on. Another retro game. You ever hear of this retro game? Fortnite. You ever hear of that one?
It's been out longer than Skyrim, I think, at this point.
It's been out a long time. And it's finally, after 5 years, it is finally back on iOS devices, back on the Apple App Store after a lot of bullshit back and forth. It was pretty interesting. I could see somewhere down the line watching a documentary about this exact thing, because it was like these last few weeks where they're like, okay, we finally got approval to put it back on the App Store, and then they're like, I don't know what's happening. We submitted it forever ago, and it hasn't been, like, they haven't approved it yet. And then, like, this woman that it's like her job to put the games out was just like, I'm not doing it. Like, it was this whole thing where it was just like, let me see if I can find. There were some great quotes, but regardless, it took a judge to tell them that you have to put the game out there. The judge says, obviously, Apple is fully capable of resolving this issue without further briefing or a hearing. However, if the parties do not file a joint notice that this issue is resolved and this court's intervention is required, the Apple official who is personally responsible for ensuring compliance shall personally appear at the hearing. Now, this is that woman. So after this came out, then they're like, fine. And then literally within a day, Fortnite was back up on the app. All it just took was a threat from a judge saying, like, you're going to be in trouble. So I just love the petty back and forth. Like, and then they said that it's estimated that between the legal fees over the 5-year long battle, plus the lost revenue from not having it available, Apple lost over $1 billion, dude. Crazy. Yeah. So,
yeah,
but now it's available.
Does that loss of revenue from not having it available, I mean, didn't this all start from Epic didn't want to pay Apple, their percentage, like 20% or whatever they're taking off of every app that's on the App Store?
Yep.
Okay, so, I mean, they would have lost that anyway if this went in Epic's favor. I don't know if
they still would have had, they would have had the revenue that, whatever that percentage was, if Fortnite was still on there and Apple was still taking whatever percentage they took from purchases, that's the money that they lost out on not having that available. So, but yeah, they wouldn't have had as much as they most likely wanted, which is why this whole thing started. You're right. But, yeah, it is out there now. There's an event going on to celebrate that it's back. There's free skins. So if you are an iPhone Fortnite player, I'm sure you're already in there playing the game. So yeah, exciting times.
What are the skins? Times. I'm thinking just to rub it in Apple's face like an Android mascot.
Oh man. So yeah, it's not even that cool of a skin. It's just like someone with like a motorcycle helmet on. It's not, some Apple worker.
Lame.
Tim Apple. What's his name?
yeah, Tim Cook.
Tim Cook. Yeah, that would have been great if they did a likeness of him. Put that out there. Oh my God, I would have downloaded the game, played it on my phone just to get that, because that's gonna be worth money someday. Moving along, I have a question. A very important question I want to ask you. How much would you pay for Borderlands 4?
Oh, upwards of $80, I would say.
You're a real fan. It's official. Full Clip is a real fan. So I'm sure you've been following this nonsense. So to catch people up, Randy Pitchford, the guy who's, Mr. Borderlands, he's the head over there. He said, this was his quote. This was talking about, they were talking about pricing of games. And his quote was, "If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen." Talking about $80 video games. And that pissed a lot of people off. A lot of people that may be real fans, but also may be dealing with, some sort of cost of living crisis that's affecting the entire country, inflation that's making food incredibly hard to get for just working people. But no, if you're a real fan, you could pay $80 and play this shitty game. So it pissed a lot of people off. One of the people that pissed off was the director of publishing for Baldur's Gate 3, Michael Dowse. And he said, "Inflation exists. We give inflation bumps, for example, to employees, and price increases can make sense. But saying real fans will find a way is gross because it assumes your game is more important during a cost of living crisis than, for example, making it day to day." And I was like, bravo to him to say this, because what a shitty way of putting it. Like, okay, raise the price. That's fine. But don't especially this guy. How much you think Randy Pitchford makes?
Yeah. I mean, millions of dollars, in the millions. And yeah, I think that's the problem. What he's saying is not necessarily wrong. A lot of people will just try to find a way to make a way to get it. I don't think that qualifies you as a real fan or not, whether you can afford the $80 right when it comes out or not. But we don't need some rich CEO smug asshole telling us that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there are games where I am absolutely, I consider myself a huge fan. And there are times where I'm like, I can't buy this game this month. Like, $80 is a lot for a video game. So, especially with with everything going on as far as, the price of everything going up. So, there are definitely times where I have to wait for a sale. And I don't think it makes myself less of a fan. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and there was a wrestling pay-per-view on last night, and I really wanted to watch it, but I was like, man, this is it's like $30 to $50 depending on how I get it. And I was like, I just can't do it. It's like there's other things that I could be buying, like beer. Right. Beer, for example, is much more important. So,
that's That's the way this pricing works. It's not about what they think it's worth necessarily. When it comes to a digital good, it's not a finite resource. It's just ones and zeros that you copy over as many times as you want to. A little bit of electrical cost in there, but it's what it's worth to you. And even if you're the biggest fan, maybe it's still not worth $80 to you, and there's nothing wrong with waiting for it to drop $20, 2 months later, because nobody wants to pay the $80 price tag. And it probably will. That's the thing about the saturation in the market right now. Maybe those real fans, whatever the hell that means, maybe they will buy the game. But how about everybody else? Because you don't just need the die-hard Borderlands fans to buy your game. You need a lot of people to buy your game to be viable in this market.
Yeah, exactly. And I talked about it, I think it was it was a couple weeks ago, where they showed more Borderlands 4, and I was really excited for it. But if it does decide it wants to come out at $80, the reason I was excited for it is that I want another co-op game. Now, are myself and my other friends also all going to want to pay $80 right when it comes out, instead of maybe, like you said, waiting a couple months, paying $50 for it, $60 for it? Because we're all in different, economic places. So like to count it, like I'm not playing it by myself. There's no fun in Borderlands doing that. So yeah, it's a whole thing. In addition to that, I thought this was also interesting that the Borderlands games are currently being review bombed, and not for that reason at all, but because of a Take-Two recently updated their user agreement, which basically, apparently, it allows them to gain root level access to your machine under the guise of some sort of anti-cheat software. So, like, they're getting hammered on, Steam. Like, you could look at the Steam reviews on Borderlands, and it's definitely being affected. So, it's not a good week for them over there. Maybe they'll show a little, a little love, and they want to, maybe they'll lower the price to try to win a little bit of the fans' faith back.
Yeah, I guess that's an important note. He started talking when he said all this shit that he's not the one who makes the call, and that he doesn't know what the price is going to be. So it's not concrete out there that it's going to be $80.
No. Right.
He just like speculated or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, absolutely. Watch, after all that, he just lost, it's going to come out for $60, $70, and like he just pissed off a bunch of people for no reason.
Yeah.
So, all right, next up, very exciting news. A live-action Elden Ring game is in the works with director Alex Garland, who is known for Ex Machina, Warfare, Civil War. He's a great director. I enjoy all his movies for the most part. But yeah, this was not on my bingo card, as they say, because it seems I don't know how they're going to make this movie. Like, right. The world is so fantastical and weird, and like, how do you turn this into a movie?
Right. I don't know. I mean, the premise is fight, die, repeat, but I mean, we've already kind of seen movies that do that, video game movies that do that, and horror movies that do that too. Sure. So I don't know. I mean, what's the approach to telling a story that's an hour and a half or 2 hours long set in the Elden Ring universe? And I don't know. My only advice is they should just get the guy who did the Minecraft movie and Napoleon Dynamite to do this one too, and then it'll be good.
Yeah, that would be a take. That would sure be an idea. Yeah, because I don't know. There's so much lore and world building in this game that I don't know how you convey that in a movie. What story do you follow? There's so many different stories. There's so many characters and enemies and all this stuff going on that, I don't know. I don't know how it works. But, it's I'm very, very, very excited to find out. So, yeah. There's no other information. That was all we got. Like, just that it's being in the works. I think like A24 is doing it. George R.R. Martin is on as a producer, which is not a surprise because he produced the game as well. So, it's I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where this is going, and it's probably not going to be many, many years. But very excited to see. I would not have expected this to be made before even maybe like a Dark Souls even, but who knows? Elden Ring was probably one of the most popular titles come out of From. So, all right, next up, it was a very, very big week for Warhammer fans. It was the Warhammer Skulls video game showcase, which this is new to me. I've never really I was not aware that this existed. But like this one, I don't know if they're usually as, if this has happened before, as chock full of announcements and stuff as this one was. So first up, Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun 2 was announced, which is the, I think we just talked about it like last week because it's on one of the services, either PlayStation Plus or Game Pass. But this is like the retro first-person shooter one. It's got like an old school like boomer shooter kind of vibe, pixelated gore and that sort of stuff. So the sequel of that series was announced, set to come out on PC, PS5, Xbox S and X sometime in 2026. So that's it's exciting. And then Speed Freaks, Warhammer 40K Speed Freaks is now out of early access, the full launch. I didn't know this game existed. Were you aware of this one?
No, but I mean, to be
Dude.
honest with you, that's 90% of this list. I didn't know these existed.
That's a good point. Yeah, usually if I see Warhammer attached to the front of it, I'm like, man, because it's always, I mean, it has been for a long time, just like real-time strategy games, military games, those sort of things. But now, Speed Freaks is a car battle game, which looks really good. I think I might pick this up.
Yeah.
I got to see how it plays on the Steam Deck, but it looks like we haven't had a good car battle racing game in a long time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This one's the one for me off the list so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really cool. Got so it's out. It was in early access, now out at early access. Bunch of new vehicles, new levels, that sort of thing. The trailer made it look really, really cool. Another big announcement was Warhammer 40K Dark Heresy, which is a their next CRPG. So this one, if you're a fan of the Baldur's Gate style of game, this is that. It's set in the Warhammer universe, obviously, and it's just you got your cast of characters fighting all these cool Warhammer villains. It looks really good. That one also on PC, PS5, Xbox Series S and X. No release date for that one, I don't believe. Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, Space Marine Crafted Edition, which is the first game. This is Warhammer Space Marine, but it's like a new definitive edition. Let's see. It comes with 4K resolution, modernized controls, interface overhaul, improved character models, remastered audio, and that sort of thing. It's going to be out sometime in the future. But yeah, it's coming to PC and Xbox Game Pass. Oh, June 10th. So not far for that one. So you could go back. You played Space Marine 2. You think you'd go back to the OG one? Check that out.
Maybe. It's probably not as good because it's from like 2011, and it's pushing it.
It is, yeah. That was before games were good. It's a well-known fact.
Well, I think
nothing good came out.
Things were good in a different way.
It was
lower expectations.
Let's see what else. Dawn of War Definitive Edition, which is the I think it's their real-time strategy game. This is a game that came out before games were good, but now this game will be good if you like strategy games. And then a whole bunch of like DLC updates to Space Marine 2. There's a siege mode coming to that. And then like literally every other thing that says Warhammer has some sort of DLC being added to it. I was like, I'm not going through all of it because there's a lot. But if you are a fan of Warhammer, go check out the trailers that came with this. There's just a ton of content that has been created throughout all of the games. So I was so impressed. I don't know how many people they have working on these. I mean, they're from all different developers and studios and that sort of thing. But man, the amount of content that came out of this, I was like, how many devs have been working on Warhammer content in the industry? A lot. Yeah. So, yeah, very cool.
It's the one franchise that's keeping the industry afloat right now.
It really seems that way, man. Warhammer is definitely having a resurgence big time. Even in, like, I see a lot of, like, my friends doing the MIDI phase. He's, like, painting and doing, like, the battles, the large tabletop battles with them. So, I'm seeing a lot more of that lately, too. So, very cool. Warhammer, it's big. I expect some, we'll get some Warhammer movies, some TV shows pretty soon. It's bound to happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And that's all. That's all I got. You got anything else?
Nothing else.
I just finished my beer. I brought 2 beers. I didn't even crack into the second one. That'll be my celebration beer after we finish this up. All right. Well, thank you for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly, the Memorial Day extravaganza here at GNW. Be sure to go to our YouTube, Pop Culture Playground. It's where you'll find this show, among other things. Hit subscribe. Make sure you like everything. You get to see us. You know, you get to see us there. If that's too much sexiness and you can't stand it, go listen to the podcast. Anywhere podcasts are found, type in GNW. That way you just have to listen to the sexiness, not watch all of the sexiness. And as I'm like saying this, I'm like thinking about our like demographic and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna agree with the sexiness, but maybe
more
maybe
like
one
anime figures back here or something.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. To bring the sexiness, some sort of. I need my hentai body pillow. Where is that?
Of course.
It's around here somewhere. But and then check us out on the socials, TikTok, Blue Sky. And that's pretty much it. And we'll be back next week talking about video games with more Gaming News Weekly.